Mario and Bowser, gaming's most iconic enemies for 40 years and counting. This duo is the foundation of just about every Mario plot, if you want to even call them plots. Giant turtle kidnaps princess, plumber comes to the rescue, and it's rare they stray away from that at all. Today though, we're gonna shine some light on those obscure occasions. Here's every time Mario and Bowser team up, ranked from worthless to elite. Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars is the first and most iconic team-up between these two, but it starts out like any ordinary Mario game. Bowser kidnaps a helpless Peach, and Mario rushes to the castle to beat him up. But that's all quickly thrown out the window when a giant sword named Exor falls from the skies, smashes right through Bowser's castle, and sends the three of them flying in opposite directions. Bowser's seen a couple times afterwards with an increasingly thinning army, but Mario doesn't engage with him until he has no choice. Once he finds out where Peach is being held captive, he goes to break into the fortress and notices Bowser sobbing nearby about all his troops being wiped out. And when he sees Mario, he flees the scene to save face and maintain that badass persona he's got going on. After Mario fails to open the door to break into the fortress though, Bowser steps in out of nowhere and smashes through it like nothing, proving his value to the team and posing a temporary partnership, which officially instates Mario as part of the Koopa Troop. From that point on, Bowser's a permanent party member, meaning he's fighting alongside Mario for the rest of the adventure, and he contributes quite a bit. The team up happens early enough in the game to where Bowser's on our side for most of the playthrough, so it makes his impact much more substantial. Gameplay-wise, he doesn't have as many special attack options as many of the other characters, but he's a physical brute that packs a punch, and you definitely need it to take down this guy, Smithy, which is kind of a dumb name and the design is pretty mid, but he's a damn formidable foe. He literally forged his entire army by hand, and since they're sentient weapons, he's basically a god. He controls the entirety of Weapon World and takes over the Mushroom Kingdom and Bowser's Castle with complete ease, absolutely warranting a Mario Bowser team up to get things back to normal. Being such a necessary joining of forces and seeing both sides contribute as much as they did makes this an easy elite tier. This game starts off a lot like Mario RPG. There's an opening Mario vs. Bowser fight, but then Peach's dialogue boxes start exploding, and since Bowser can't kidnap her like that because she'd destroy his castle, he teams up with Mario to get her normal voice back, so he can kidnap her again. They hop aboard his Koopa Cruiser and set out for the Bean Bean Kingdom. Alright, so they get separated again, and Bowser's got a lot worse luck. Fawful finds him in his weakened state and possesses him with Cackleta's soul, which gives her full control over his body and creates a new villain, Bowletta. And from there, obviously Bowser's not much help to Mario and Luigi, but they're still fighting the same thing he is, if he could. Bowletta kidnaps Peach, the brothers track her down, beat up Fawful, and defeat her in a pretty cool final battle. The first phase has you fighting Bowletta like normal, but then you get bored and have to beat up the evil spirit itself from within, which is a neat concept that they totally didn't recycle for a future Mario Luigi game. They win the fight and escape the exploding castle airship via a fucking pterodactyl, while leaving Bowser to get hurt even more before dropping him off back home in the most humiliating way possible. I honestly wouldn't call this much of a team-up. They do have a common enemy, but after the first like 10 minutes, Bowser's not doing anything to contribute, and with a weaker enemy than last time on top of it, this one's going down and kinda helps, and that's being nice. There's a ton going on in this game, and it's really confusing with all the baby and adult versions of all the characters, so I'll do my best to break it down and make as much sense as possible. It boils down to basically be more of Superstar Saga's team-up, but this time, a baby version of Bowser kidnaps Baby Peach, and some enemies called Shroobs attack the castle and force everyone to team up. They board the same Koopa Cruiser, but this time it's way more clutch on Bowser's part. Seriously, they all could have been killed if he didn't step up. They then save adult Mario and Luigi from a pack of Shroobs, and now got the entire gang on Bowser's aircraft, just in time to get attacked and sent spiraling through Bowser's castle, which of course splits up the group and kinda marks the end of them working together for a while. When they meet again, the brothers eat all Bowser's cookies, beat up his caretaker, and steal the shiny objects he found, and they wonder why he f***ing hates them. Those sparkly things are actually the Cobalt Shards, some really powerful and important items, and Bowser's after them for himself just cuz, while the brothers are collecting them to time travel and save the day. The brothers work with their baby counterparts for most of the game, but baby Bowser doesn't meet his grown form until much later, and it doesn't amount to much. They team up and decide to fight all the Mario brothers, and get defeated pretty easily, which gets them yeeted sky high, and I guess sends Old Man Koopa back to the present, while Baby stays here to get bullied more. By some miracle though, he ends up getting the rest of the Cobalt Star on his own, and when he reassembles it, the main bad guy, Princess Shroob, gets released, transforms him into a mushroom, and fights the Mario brothers. They win, and after crying on their pal turn fungus, it turns back into Bowser. I have no idea why, but all's well that ends, well, Adult Bowser gets possessed again for one last battle, and beating him brings him back to normal. Having to fight Bowser so many different times, in addition to him being the one to release the main villain, counteracts any of the positives about this team up and makes it a pretty straightforward worthless. This game opens in about the weirdest way it could, at Bowser and Peach's wedding. Count Bleck is forcing the marriage, and Bowser is ecstatic about it, but Peach has got to get mind-controlled into saying I do. And with that phrase spoken, a weird object called the Chaos Heart spawns, and Bleck gets his hands on it to open up a void and destroy the universe. Mario sets out for adventure alone, but eventually recruits Peach, and not long after, the King Koopa himself. And the three go out looking for the 8 pure hearts. I see one right here. When they obtain them all, they invade Castle Bleck and get picked off one by one, leaving just Mario to take on Bleck himself. And after realizing he can't do a thing to this man, his old pal Bowser shows up with the rest of his crew and they thrash him, with Bowser honestly contributing the most, which is a great look for him. Their alliance lasts almost the entire game and defeats a world-ending threat, which is a pretty friggin' elite look. I wasn't sure if I should count this one or not, because Bowser's teaming up with the bad guys for like 99% of it, but since Taboo is a common enemy in the end, and he joins Mario's team to stop him, I gotta at least mention it. It's not worthless either, it is last second, but at least he kinda helps. This one might be the most obvious in the video, because with Mario and Luigi inside of Bowser, they kinda have to work together. Like the other Mario-Luigi games, he fights Mario at the beginning, but after getting decimated this time, he gets tricked into eating a mysterious mushroom that turns him into Kirby, and he goes back to his castle to mindlessly munch. He's then unconscious in the middle of nowhere, and Mario and Luigi revive him from inside, with help from their new friend Starlo, who's the only one that actually communicates with Bowser, so he's got no clue the Mario brothers are crawling around inside him. They work together to an incredible extent in this game. You play as both parties a pretty good amount, and each one accomplishes a ton to help the other, whether they realize it or not. Yet another evil Bowser form is created, and Bowser kicks the shit out of it. And when he's attacked from within, the brothers got his back there. Then at the very end of the game, when everyone's shot out of his body, Bowser's enraged to find out they were in there, and decides to get his ass beat one final time as the credits roll. If Bowser knew how well they were working together, this has elite potential, but since he doesn't and is really upset to find out, this one's going in unknowing allies. For most of the game, Bowser's clearly the main bad guy. He captures Peach and wants to marry her, but after Mario thwarts his plans, the love triangle's left in the crumbling core of the moon, and Mario throws Cappy at an unconscious Bowser to become his own archenemy. This final sequence is f***ing awesome, but obviously Bowser has no idea, even though it does in fact save his life. This is why I made this tier, and it fits perfectly. When we first see Bowser here, he's already been folded down into a tiny square, hung by a clothespin, and forced to watch all his minions get folded into mindless origami slaves. Alright then. Mario's conveniently walking around the castle, so he's quick to save him, and the two work together to escape the dungeon, and later the entire castle as it gets enveloped by streamers. Like always though, the aircraft gets hit by something and causes the dream team to split up. Mario's traveling with his new folded pal Olivia, and they go around wrecking a bunch of arts and crafts supplies, and destroying the streamers surrounding Peach's castle. Bowser's not seen again until toward the end of the game, where he's once again being held prisoner, and after being saved, he travels with Mario and can't really do much until they finally get him unfolded. He then fully commits to the team up, and actually tries to comfort Olivia when she's having doubts about being able to beat Ollie, and it's really uncharacteristic of him, but shows there is some compassion in there after all, and he's not as selfish as he's normally portrayed to be. As selfish. But then he comes in mega clutch for the final fight, because King Ollie folds himself into a fucking monster, and Bowser decides to do the same thing to himself to even the playing field, and give the good guys a fighting chance. They're in a shoving contest, so Mario pounds the ground behind Bowser to give him a boost, and before you know it, they push Ollie into the abyss and win. This fight involves the two of them directly working together, more so than we've ever really seen before, and it makes for a killer finale. I know Bowser wasn't around a whole lot, but he made his time on screen count, and I gotta give that credit as a solid team effort. Mario teams up with Bowser Jr. in the original game, but team-ups with Jr. don't count for this video. Sorry, Bowser's Fury. Like most of these other team-ups, Bowser's minions get brainwashed by some opposing force and cause Bowser to join forces with Mario to get him back. When we first see him, he's fighting some behemoth named Bedrock and gets his ass whooped and flies straight into this weird dark dimension. So Mario's crew goes in after him, they defeat Bedrock together and make it out safely, agreeing that an alliance is the only chance they have of victory. That happens about halfway into the game, and from that point on, he's a recurring ally that contributes a good bit to their cause, so it's borderline an elite team-up. But since it happens so late in the game, it's gonna lower him just a bit to team effort tier. And there you have it.